Welcome to this episode of Trust the Process with Martin Bugaj. In this inspiring episode, we have a special guest who has truly transformed his life through dedication, hard work, and the power of online coaching. Meet Miguel, a devoted father of two and a busy prosthodontist running a dental clinic in Boston, US. Miguel's journey to health and fitness wasn't an easy one. Struggling with deteriorating physical health, stress from long working hours, and the demands of balancing work and family life, Miguel found himself at a tipping point. It was a simple moment, struggling to tie his shoes due to his growing belly, that served as a wake-up call. Looking at family holiday photos, he realized the stark difference between his overweight and unfit self and his vibrant children. Determined to make a change, Miguel joined our online coaching program and embarked on a transformative journey. Over 8 months of hard work and commitment, Miguel shed an incredible 62 pounds of body fat, improved his health markers significantly, and achieved the best shape of his life. Join us as Miguel shares his story of resilience, determination, and as we delve into the challenges he overcame during this process, the victories he celebrated, and the lessons he learned along the way. Hello, Miguel.
Hi, Martin. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very nice to meet you in person, first of all, and see you in London.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's been something I've been looking forward to, so it's finally time, and I'm glad I'm here.
Amazing. When I look back, it's been 10 months?
10 months, yeah.
10, just about 10, 11 months since you started the transformation. So for everybody that's listening, Miguel, you have joined our online training program to the body transformation in January, sort of end of January this year, 2023.
Correct.
And so we are here today. You traveled all the way from Boston to do a photo shoot with us for the end of the fat loss phase that has just finished. And tomorrow we are going to be doing a photo shoot. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling overall very excited. Mm-hmm. Not so much anxious, but something that is outside of my comfort zone, doing that. But I think for myself, signing up to do the photo shoot wasn't something that I was originally thinking about doing. So once I got into the process and I saw how things were going and how I was doing the program, I wanted to switch my goals at that point and said, you know what, maybe I can do something like that and aim for something different. And that extra push gave me really, I think, the motivation that I needed to continue on and go to that next level. And as time got closer, I started getting more nervous, more anxious, am I going to be ready? Because, you see the results, and you guys have done fantastic before and afters with so many clients and so many people. I just wanted to make sure that I can continue on that tradition and make sure that I proved you guys right and made you guys proud of what I was doing.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind and nice to hear because, when I look back, when we had our first call in, what was it? I think we had a call in December, but the official time of you wanting to start the program was a little bit further, like in the new year, right?
Yeah, actually, I think the original call was in November.
Right, okay.
Because I remember clearly because I had set up the call, and then we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I purposely delayed because on my end, I was hesitant to, I think, pull the trigger and say, all right, is this something I'm really going to do? Can I actually do this, really? And I had a lot of self-doubt because of things I had done before that hadn't worked out for me. And not because of the trainers I was working with, it's just myself. I wasn't ready.
Yes.
And I wasn't fully committed to do what needed to be done to get the results that I needed to do. So when that came about, I wanted to take a little time, and that's why it took me, I don't know, maybe a week or two to get back to you.
Yeah.
And I talked about it with my wife, and then I said, what can happen if I don't do this? And then I needed to do it. I knew that, and then I just needed to make the push and then go forward from there and just fully commit. And that's what I did. And I did want to take the holidays to get through, and that's why I wanted to start in January.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up doing it.
Okay. So
actually, I told my friends, because we were at the Celtics game, and we had a big group of us. It was about 5 other couples, so 6 of us there, 12 of us. And I told them that I signed on with these trainers to get healthy, and they're in London. They all looked at me like I was crazy. Like, why are you signing up with people in London? Why can't you do it here? But, I told them the story, how I got in touch with you, and I was referred to you by one of your other clients who was one of my wife's business partners and all that. And I said, yeah. So let's see how it goes, and then I'll let you guys know in 6 months, where I'm at, and then here we are.
That's really cool. Later, yeah. That's really cool. So let's just take it back all the way to the beginning, and even pre. So what was the motivation for you wanting to do the program and to start this journey?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that as the journey started winding down, to this phase of where I'm at. It wasn't an overall health issue. I was not having health issues as far as no back pain. I hadn't seen the doctor in a while, but I was assuming everything was okay. And, I've been relatively healthy my entire life. I think it was just one of those things where in a few months I'm turning 50. So it's a, milestone birthday that started weighing on me. And I had never been, looking back on it, in such bad shape, as I was, as far as not even just overweight. I was not able to do anything cardio-wise. I started trying to run during the pandemic, and I couldn't go from my house to the bridge where I live, and that's only, 150 yards. I was running with my son, and I was out of breath already, and I couldn't do it, and I had to start walking. So those things, and then I think looking back on the trips that we took as a family in October and November of 2022, and when I started seeing myself in those photos, because usually I'm the one taking the photos, so I don't come out in the photos. And when I saw those photos, it was really eye-opening to see the state that I had gotten into and how it happened slowly over time. And I didn't see it happening to myself. And then I was now in that situation, and it was time for me to make a change. Yeah.
What was your weight prior to starting?
Prior to starting, I would never weigh myself until I started the program, because I didn't even know what it was. Okay. But I know what it was when we started. It was, I'll round up, it was 194.
194. Yeah. And what was the lowest that you got to on this program?
On the program, 130.
130 pounds. So we're talking nearly, over 60 pounds, right? Over 60 pounds.
Mathematically, about 32% of my body weight.
Yes. Yeah. Incredible.
Crazy.
How are you feeling?
I feel great. Yeah. If I had to say, I'm going to be 50 in a few months, so I feel like I've shaved easily 20 years off my life.
That's amazing.
I feel that good. Energy is fantastic. People assume that, I wake up early to work out, that, I go to bed early. That changed. That's a part of the program that has changed my life, making sure I get adequate sleep.
Yes.
And that's something that Jason drove into me from the moment we started, because I would go to bed late and I would get up early, but still not doing exercise. But I would just be staying up late working or just watching TV to wind down. And then I get maybe 5 hours of sleep. But now, I try to go to bed at a reasonable hour and then wake up and make sure I get a solid 7 to 8 hours is my goal.
Amazing. So it's a big lifestyle change, I suppose, right? Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. What I wanted to kind of go back to is, you said that you didn't have any health issues whatsoever, so no back pain or anything like that, but cardiovascular-wise, or your cardiovascular health, that wasn't in the best shape, so that's definitely improved. You've lost over 60 pounds. Your physique looks amazing, your body composition, because in the first photo, when now even looking back to the whole transformation, I mean, you look like two completely different people.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you look in the mirror, knowing that 10 months ago, the Miguel, pre-program, and now, how do you feel? Do you even recognize yourself?
Right.
What does that feel like? Because it probably takes a little bit of adjusting, right?
Yeah, it does. There's been a few times that right when you started seeing the differences, when I go for a walk and you pass by a window that you can see a reflection, And then I'm walking, this is in the summertime in Boston, because now I have to wear jackets everywhere. But when I walked by and I saw myself in the shorts and my workout shirt, and I saw the reflection, and I had to do like a double take. I'm like, who's that guy in the reflection? I didn't really recognize myself. But, you know, I mentioned that I wasn't having any pains now, but you know, I was having, you know, I don't want to say I wasn't depressed on how I was feeling, but it was affecting me. You know, I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be from an emotional standpoint, and, you know, just feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
And that started to weigh on me. And, you know, simple things like, and you saw the before photos, you know, a simple task like tying my shoes with the size of my stomach, and how that was actually becoming a chore.
Yeah.
So that's not good. And, you know, that needed to change. And that was really what pushed me now.
Did you do any blood tests or any health checks prior to starting?
No, I wish I had done that.
Right.
And part of that was, I think, my self-doubt creeping in.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, looking, I don't know, am I going to actually be successful doing this program? So I didn't document stuff like that, but I did do it now about 2 weeks ago. I was curious to see. I hadn't seen the doctor in a while because of COVID, and she hadn't been seeing patients, so I went to see her. Last time I had blood work done was 2019. Okay. I was still actually the same weight, so I didn't gain much during COVID, which is good, but I was still a heavy weight. And then I got my blood work done 2 weeks ago, as I mentioned, and everything that needed to go down went down dramatically. Everything that needed to go up went up. My cholesterol was excellent, she said. And what she commented on that I wanted to share with you was that she said, well, I don't know what your trainers have done, but you are the picture of perfect health, is what they told me. So that made me feel good, and I wanted to share that with you guys.
That's incredible. Thank you. Well, I mean, you know, I suppose you deserve all the praise because you've done the work. You know,
well, we were just effort.
Facilitating, you know, the outcome. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Again, going back, what was your mindset? Because I really want to kind of delve into that. You said that you wanted to delay the process. You said that before signing up, you weren't really sure.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? You obviously booked the call, so
right.
It took courage to book the call, jump on Zoom with me. We had the conversation. You didn't sign then. What were your doubts? Were your doubts about not being in a good position to start something like that? Were your doubts not being able to achieve what you wanted to achieve? What were the goals, first of all? And what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I think all the doubts I had were really related to self-doubt. You know, I didn't know that I would be able to do what I ended up doing, quite frankly. And a lot of it was, you know, that it had been so long since I had pushed myself like that I didn't know that I can do it again. And physically, was I going to be able to? Because when I looked at your website and saw Matt and some of these other guys that you had trained that I knew, you know, those guys were maybe in a different position than I was, where they were already in kind of better shape, and they were just needed to build some muscle or just needed to add some stuff. And I didn't see myself in the same category as what I was seeing from them. And I thought, you know, I don't know that I'm going to be successful doing this program on my end. And it was all just self-doubt, because I thought that, you know, it's so much work that I would have to do. Can I even do it?
Yes.
And then that's why I started off slowly in the program, because I kept doing what I was doing. And then I realized that wasn't going to cut it. I needed to change, and that's what I needed to do, because I was not doing all the checking the boxes that I needed to do, and not even coming close to what needed to be done. And at that point, I realized probably about 4 weeks into the program that I had to make that decision in order to get the results of what I was looking for and why I signed up in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you remember exactly what your goals were coming into the program?
I didn't have any goals written down or any set goals. The main goal was just to try to get healthier.
Okay.
And what that definition or what that ended up being for me was malleable. It was going to change with time, because I didn't know what was going to happen. And honestly, I took it at the beginning, day by day.
Yeah.
And I went one day and I said, okay, I got through day one. Let's keep going and keep going. And some of the cardio, I did the same thing. At the beginning, if you guys remember, you had me doing, and everything was built up, based on how I was going. And you didn't throw me into, what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. It started off slowly, and it was great with the program because you build it to each individual client and their goals, and everybody's different. Because what I did was not the same as what some of these other guys did, and my macro counts were different. Everything is built towards that person. And my goal was to get healthy, and I couldn't even do the cardio at the beginning.
Yeah.
You guys, I wanted me to do the bike, but I was in such bad shape, mm-hmm. and the bike was hurting my butt so much, mm-hmm. I couldn't stand up to get off of the bike mm-hmm. for 5 minutes, and so I didn't end up doing the bike. So then I started doing stairs outside or in the building because it was wintertime.
Correct, yes.
And then I started getting shin splints because it was too much hard surfaces. So I had to adapt what I did. And then once I noticed that I was able to adapt and change with this stuff, the results started coming. And then you guys started giving me more. And then I started pushing more. And then you gave me more, and I kept doing it. And at that point, I said, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to stress was, I look at it a little bit differently in the sense that it became, at the beginning, to get healthy and maybe body transformation, but that's not what it is to me now. Mm-hmm. It became a life transformation for me, which is really important. And something I want to stress to whoever's listening is now this is who I am. People have asked me, oh, is this sustainable? Are you going to keep doing this? And I said, why not? I'm doing it now. Mm-hmm. So maybe not quite the same mm-hmm.
when
I enter the maintenance phase, but this is where I want to be, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah. It seems like, it's a very emotional thing even right now that we talk about that, because what you've gone through and the amount of work that you've put in, the amount of sacrifice, no doubt, that you put into it, is incredible. So absolute respect from both myself and Jason for sticking with everything, really trusting the process, because that's really what it's all about, and seeing it through and making that progress and where you are today. I remember when we were talking on that call, your goals, because I had to kind of clarify what your goals were. So I remember you mentioned about 20, maybe 25 pounds of feeling healthier, etc., etc. Well, you ended up over 60 pounds, and you, I suppose, in the best shape of your life today. Why? What was the why behind? So you mentioned, the goal was health. You wanted to lose, obviously, the weight because you saw photos, etc., etc. There is always a big why, and you need this big why behind your goals, because otherwise, when it's getting tough, and these journeys do get tough, it's almost like a test for everybody. You have to have something that you really relate to, and usually that big why is something that pushes you through. What was the why like for you?
I don't know that I can identify just one thing. Honestly, I think it was a lot of things for me. A lot of those things: getting healthy, getting in better shape, making sure that that I'm going to be around as long as I want to be around for my family. Right now, at the moment, my dad's not in the best of health. He's turning 80 in January 2nd, and my wife made a comment. Maybe this is my why. She said that I need to make a change, and because she's not going to take care of me the way she takes care of my dad. My mama takes care of my dad. So I said, all right. So I need to get in better shape.
That's a big why. That's a big why.
Yeah.
Doing it for family, and I think it's interesting because you mentioned earlier that it is a body transformation program, but really, when it comes down to it, we do change life, and people do completely change their lives, and the health and the body is just a byproduct.
Yeah.
If we can make you understand why you do something like this and become healthy on the way, then the body composition and all of that is just a byproduct of all those actions accumulated over time. And for you have 2 kids, right?
2 kids, yep.
So the why is very strong. And what I was going to say, for a lot of younger folks, body transformation is probably the goal. They want to look great. Right. They want to have a great physique. They want to show it off, go on holiday, enjoy it, etc., etc., etc. But for somebody like yourself who has a family, those goals change. Those values are probably different, and the why behind those goals is different. So, I really appreciate that. And that means so much to us, because that means that you are going to be able to be, around your kids for a lot longer. You'll be able to lead by example. And no doubt they saw you transform and change. And that sets, a precedent and a really great example for the family.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, they've always seen me, they only see me, go to work and that's it, and I work very hard. As a small business owner, everything starts with me. And as a dentist, I'm the main producer in the office. So if I'm not there, we're not making money to be able to pay everybody, is essentially, the deal. So with that in mind, I was trying to work as much as I could, to the point that it overtook everything in my life. Where once the kids were born, my kids are 15 and 13. So that's how long it had been since I had done really any form of exercise. And not to blame it on them, it just, things changed in life. I got busier here and there, and we had to shuffle them back and forth between sports and different events that they have. And I give you every excuse under the book, and that's what I was doing. I'm too busy, I'm too tired. I'm not gonna do that. That's too much work. That's what it was. That's what I was doing. I was only getting exercise when I would walk to work, which was maybe a day or day and a half during the week. And then that's it. Even when we got a dog, I'd walk the dog, but not as much as now. Now the dog looks at me and says, I go, let's go for a walk. And Piper says, no, too many walks for you. I'm staying in. So she refuses now. So I got to get my steps in. So, but
so it seems like everybody benefited, including the dog.
Including the dog, yes. Yeah. So
amazing. That was a great segue, actually, because I wanted to talk about that. So you are a business owner, you're a dentist, and couple of things. So I suppose you did touch on that just now. What was your life like before that? So clearly very stressed, overworked, anxious, etc. So I assume that probably played a big role in your mindset going into the program. Will I be able to commit to something on top of already hectic schedule? How did you overcome that challenge?
Yeah, it was not easy, honestly, and it took a while to get my footing and to find out how I'm going to work with the schedule. So the schedule didn't really change. I just changed my schedule around my work schedule. It changed in the fact that instead of, I've now 20-something years into my career, I was still working 6 days a week every other week. So I was working maybe 4.5 and then 1 week and then 6 the other week, including Saturdays. So I didn't have much free time. So that's why I was worried. I'm like, how am I going to get this stuff done with all the work that needs to be done in order to get the program there? But then I decided that probably a couple months into the program that the program became more important, and my life became more important than necessarily the work-life balance that I had.
Yes.
So instead of dropping everything and going in on my day off to see patients, well, that's now my day off, and I don't see patients during those days, and now I get to accomplish my work that I need to do to get myself healthier and better shape. So when I looked at the schedule for things, I try to move things around, and that's a great thing with the program and with the app. I can plan my whole week ahead of time and say, okay, Jason has me working out this day, but let me move that to my day off. So I'm going to move it there in the morning. I have more time to do it, and I just move things around as I need it and still get the work done. And then I said, okay, well, if I need to do walking that day, X amount of steps, and I need to do cardio that day, 45 minutes of cardio, how am I going to get that done? Because I got to get my son to the train station at 6:30 in the morning. Well, I have no choice, so I had to wake up early and get at least one of those two things done, and that's what I do. So I wake up early, and I found my sweet spot, and I do that, and then I get home, and immediately when I get home from work, I jump on the bike, or I do something else to get that cardio done, and then go from there. And that's what I ended up doing. And then at that point, it becomes the favorite saying, rinse and repeat.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And so many things that I wanted to touch on there. So first of all, it seems like setting certain boundaries for yourself and going, okay, I'm going to do it for myself. And in order for things to change, I need to change the things, right?
Yep.
So that's number one. Then being disciplined enough to actually show up for yourself every single day. And over time, and it probably, I mean, I suppose it's just a couple of weeks when you get into that routine. It's the hardest thing is always the start.
Right.
And once you then go into the groove, it is, like you said, rinse and repeat. Also, because it seems to me, and it almost shouts at me, that productivity at work must have gone massively through the roof. If you suddenly are so organized and you pay attention to everything and you are so productive throughout the day, you become very productive at work. You have more time with your family, so everything kind of has its place, its schedule, etc. Did it change your business or the productivity at work? Did it translate at all, or how did that look like?
I don't know how to make that connection in the sense that for the last 2 years, we've been fortunate enough as a business. Now, this is a business where we've been extremely busy and extremely successful. So we're actually too busy. And there's,
place to be.
It's not bad. It's a good position to be in. And, the last 2 years I've had one of our 2 doctors each out on maternity leave. So even with that, we've been extremely busy, and that's made us even more busy because we're down a doctor for 3 or 4 months out of the year each for the last 2 years. So, so that even with all that, I said, no, this year especially, because last year I hadn't started, but this year we had the doctor go out on maternity leave. I said, I'm still not compromising. I'm still not going in on my days off, and this is what I need to do. And the staff will adjust my schedule and make sure the patients are aware, and we take care of our patients. But I still did not stray from my goals of what I set forth.
Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that, because you clearly put yourself first in that situation and you stuck with it to your guns, and it clearly pays off massively in other areas of your life, and the business is still thriving. It's still going.
So
but you get more from
it. I may feel like egotistically I'm the star of the show at the business, but the business will go on. I think I'm very good at what I do. But that's why I have other people who also work with me that are equally talented and can see and help me with the business. So I don't have to be there all the time.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's really great to hear. What were your biggest highs and the biggest lows, or the highest highs and the lowest lows on the program, if you can recall?
Well, I don't. Maybe the highest high was this morning. Working out there. That was nice. It was a great feeling.
What was great about that?
I don't know. I think seeing your guys' reactions, because you hadn't seen me in person, and the photos that I sent you, and as I would send them to you, I say, oh, guys, the lighting is really not helping me, because I know the amount of work that I was putting in, and I can see the changes myself physically, but it wasn't coming through in the photos how I wanted them to come through. Yeah,
100%. I agree. Like the photos that, the check-in photos, etc., that was not doing you any justice to, us experiencing it in this morning when we saw you. You look absolutely phenomenal. Seriously, both Jason and I were blown away and so positively surprised. Excellent.
So, that's, just the icing on the cake, I guess. But the... things like where, patients that I haven't seen in 6 months, 8 months, they come in and either to my face or as I walk out after doing a check for them, they tell the hygienist, they said, who's the new doctor? That's not Dr. Vidal. And I had a colleague that I saw, we were lecturing together in February. So I was 2 weeks into the program, and then we were having breakfast at the hotel before we went to lecture. And I said, hey, guys, I'm eating a little differently today because I'm on a program and everything. So I hadn't seen him until probably about 3 weeks ago. We went to dinner.
Okay.
And I actually sent him one of the before and afters, the more recent ones. So I didn't want to surprise him. I said, hey, Dan, this is, I've been doing this stuff. This is how I'm doing. And I just don't want you to think anything, when you see me. So, and even with that, I came up from the side of him at dinner because he was at the restaurant before I got there. And I had him in the back. I said, "Hey, Dan, how you doing?" And he looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, you look familiar. Have you been to my office before? Nice to meet you, Dan." And I started laughing because I thought he was joking with me. I'm like, "Dan, what's going on?" And he's like, "Miguel, because you heard my voice." And I'm like, "Yes, it's me." And I'm like, "Were you kidding?" He's like, "No, I didn't know it was you completely."
That's insane.
So that was insane. It made me feel good from that aspect. But some people have I guess the transformation's been that dramatic and in short period of time that they have not recognized me from that aspect. Yeah, so
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I can attest to that. You have changed. When I look at your before photo and now, even seeing you in person, two completely different people. Yeah. Incredible.
I'm kind of like Clark Kent now because I'm wearing contacts and I shaved, so I kind of hide it now.
Do you feel that your self-confidence has grown since, achieving all those goals and going through the program?
Yeah, I think in a sense that, overall, I guess my personality is not one of those,
extroverts.
Yeah, like that. I'm more shy and introverted anyways. But I think not so much self-confidence, but how I feel about myself has definitely changed in that sense. Not like outwardly, but I don't know, just like I feel so much better about myself now that, and hopefully, I guess maybe that shows or how I come off. But that's the main thing. It's just, and more for me, just I feel so much better about where I am and what I'm doing.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's so amazing to hear. I suppose it's that appreciation for all the work that you've done and really you achieved what you set out for yourself. Yeah. And that's something that's very important because I don't know whether you were the case before, but a lot of people start different sort of diets. They try on that whole fitness journey. They try and fail a lot of the time. Yeah. So, going through something like that and really genuinely changing like you have must feel amazing.
It does. And, I was thinking back on it as well. And I was, after the call, I'm like, I hope Martin still wants to work with me because I don't think I made it easy for you guys in the sense that I told you from the beginning, I said that I'm not going to the gym. That was non-negotiable for me because I tried that before. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's what makes me even more proud of where I am because I've done all this just at home. Absolutely. With limited equipment. Yes. The equipment you guys recommended, just a collapsible bench and adjustable dumbbells and the bike. And I use YouTube videos and that's all I've done. So the little space, I took over the third bedroom we have in the condo because it's not like I have a basement that I can dedicate to this in a house. We live in a condo in downtown Boston. Yeah. And that was the kids' playroom and extra room for studying. I kicked them out of there. And now that's Dad's workout room. So I still give it to them for some stuff, but that's where I work out in just that little room area. And then that's it.
Let's talk about that because so from our point of view, did you or did you not make it easy for us? To be fair, it's really irrelevant because motto is that it has to work in any conditions and circumstances because at the end of the day, if you are ready to change, we are ready to help you in any and every way we can. So as long as you have realistic expectations of what you can achieve, which we spoke about, that's absolutely fine. You can absolutely make great progress and you can definitely achieve great results with very limited equipment, which you are, living proof of because you only had one bench, pair of adjustable dumbbells, and that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you find those 10, I suppose now at this stage, long months of just rinse and repeat with this limited equipment?
Well, I think by month 8, I was a little, maybe, let's say, bored. Mm-hmm. And I think I kept asking Jason, I'm like, are we switching exercises? Is it time to switch now? Because, that is the negative of working out at home, where I don't have access to the same equipment and can do a variety of exercises. I could really only do what I can do there. And even some of them, I don't have space to do some of the stuff as well. So that's why I tried the variety of doing, some YouTube videos and all that. But I'm a creature of habit. So if something works for me, I'm going to keep doing that. A YouTube video was working for me, doing some Hira Tabata. I kept just repeating that one because I knew it was working for me. So, if you guys give me instructions, I'm going to follow that because that's how I work and that's how my personality. But, I can see the negatives for me. So maybe now the next phase, maybe going to the gym and introducing some different things and classes and stuff like that, may be good for me to give me a different variety and maybe work some different muscles and stuff like that. But, it's not for everybody, but honestly, it was especially at the beginning, it was the only way I knew it was going to happen because I had to get up early, and the transit time from getting up to the gym and going back doesn't seem like a lot, but it takes up too much time that I didn't have available. Yeah. So if I was going to make it work, that's how it had to work.
It had to be that way. Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, looking back, I'm definitely super happy that we proved it is possible, because really it is. And again, you touched on so many interesting things. It should really show people that it's not about the crazy variety of different exercises or having the most, the newest, most flashy equipment or anything like that. It really is about sticking to the basics. And like you said, rinse, repeat, show up, tick your boxes, and just take day by day. And again, you're living proof of what you have achieved. And seeing you today, the development of your physique is absolutely outstanding. And I don't think people will actually believe that you've achieved this physique with such limited equipment. Amazing. So once again, huge congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
Great work.
It's and I wish I had put up a mirror, as I mentioned. Because, working on form and all that, and I couldn't see what I was doing. So I would work out so early in the morning that when I had the light on in the room, I can see my reflection in the window.
Yes.
And that was my mirror. So that's because it was dark outside. So that became my mirror. And when I was doing, let's say, shoulder press, I can see that and different things. So I purposely would turn the bench so I can make sure that my form was holding on these things, because I didn't have the mirror available to see progress and form and stuff like that. So
one could say that quite Spartan-like conditions in some way, right? Yeah. Was there a reason that you didn't want to get a mirror?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to put it in that room, unfortunately.
Right, okay, there was just no space.
Because that room housed the balcony and the windows there, so I couldn't really put it in there.
Yeah, okay. Now, how did you find the program, the purely from training program perspective? Obviously, limited equipment, but what we've programmed, those phases over this period of time. How did you find that?
Well, for me, I think it worked great. Obviously, I think the transformation hopefully speaks to that. And what I thought worked out great for me was how you guys built it up. At the beginning, it wasn't anywhere close to what I was doing now as far as exercises and length of exercises, as far as cardio and all that. I think, actually, we never changed. We did workout weights 3 days a week.
Yes.
That always stayed the same.
Yes.
Different exercises as I got stronger. But the cardio was every other day to start and for a lower amount.
Yes.
And then the steps were a lower amount.
Yeah.
The steps, I never had problems. I would always actually super pass that because I enjoy going outside and just walking. And my wife wants to come with me. I said, no, that's my time. I just want to clear my head. I walk in the morning. Now I was walking just by myself. Now I started putting the earbuds in because I walk so early in the morning. I want to make sure that I have all my wits about me in case, because it's dark. Yeah. But now I'm like, okay, I seen everybody in the morning for 10 months. I think they know me by now.
Yes. It's that guy.
Yeah, it's that guy. Yeah. So that was good. And then when things progress, you guys upped the ante and changed the stuff and changed the actual exercises. And it was, the combination of 2 muscle groups at a time, right? So those supersets, they helped quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, some of them I would just start with body weights. Some of the Bulgarian, the split squats, I couldn't do that with weights at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's worth mentioning that the way we structured the whole program, at the very beginning, it was all so simple and so basic because of where you were, with your weight. Certain things, like you said, you couldn't really do. So we obviously did our video assessment. You sent videos. Right. We gave you feedback, etc., etc., etc. And then over time, as you were losing weight, as you were getting fitter, as you were getting more mobile, you were gaining mobility, flexibility, etc., etc., your body was able to take a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So that progressive overload over time. Interestingly, you mentioned your wife. So how this whole program changed, or at all, if at all, the dynamic at home? Did it include your family members? Did they kind of jump the wagon with you?
Yeah, I'd say they benefited. I should have had her pay some of the fee because she benefited from it as well. But all kidding aside, I think one thing to stress before I even get into how they benefited was, you not only have to make a commitment yourself to the program, obviously, but you need the support. And it's very important to have that support. If you're by yourself, or if you have a family, because it's going to take up a lot of time, and they need to be on board with that. And especially, maybe the dieting, as far as, I don't like that dieting word, but eating healthier.
Yep.
Some days I couldn't eat what they were eating for dinner because I had reached my, I couldn't eat that because it's too much fat or whatever it is. Yeah. So they need to be able to know why, especially my kids, and understand why. So I don't want them to think that, and create any bad eating habits for them because things like that. And I was doing it for a reason, with the goal in mind and controlled. But yeah, so my wife's always been in good shape and she eats healthy. But now she has the gym membership, so I don't, and I call it her favorite charity because she doesn't go and she just pays. So now I tell her, now I see that she's going quite often.
Nice.
And then I'm like, I tell her it's not a competition, I go, but I'm winning anyways, so it's fine. So she goes for walks with me all the time with the dog, and the stuff that she wasn't doing before. And where she's, I should really wake up early. I'm like, yeah, I could wake you up if you want. I'm getting up anyways. So that doesn't happen too often, but she does. But all those things and for me, hopefully the kids can see and appreciate all the hard work that their dad has done to get to this stage, and how that translates to everything in life. I think I'm a successful dentist and a good businessman from that aspect, but that didn't happen overnight, and it took a lot of hard work to get to where I do, and that's the same energy I put into this. Yeah. And that drive doesn't change regardless of what I'm doing in life, and hopefully that's a lesson that they can get from this and seeing what I've done to get to that point.
Absolutely beautiful. That's so true. And, I couldn't agree more. Fantastic. So it seems like the ripple effect has taken its course, and, family members are kind of on board to a degree, and you all benefited. So that's great. Great to hear. I wanted to go back because you mentioned your children and sometimes you not being able to be involved in family dinners or things like that. But that, I assume, has been kind of as of recent, since we've been kind of getting really prepared, since the goal has changed for you. Correct. Midway through the process, and you decided to do the photo shoot. So we kind of had to adjust your macronutrients, your calorie levels, etc., etc. Right. So, as things were going down, then I suppose it became a little bit harder for you to enjoy those meals with family. Is that right? That's the point. I don't want to make it sound like I was doing that the whole time. No, I was just more recently for this goal. People would say, "Oh, are you dieting?" And I don't like that phrase myself, because no, I'm just eating healthy. And that, oh, you have to really watch where you're eating when you're. I'm like, no, it's true, yes and no. I have a certain number of calories I need to eat, and within those calories, a certain number of them gram-wise have to be for the macros, and I had to make things work in those numbers. So I can eat whatever I want, as I tell them, but it has to fit within that. And that's really the key, because, even if you guys were with me in Boston, that part wouldn't change because you're not home with me eating. Just see you guys at the gym. And that component is now completely on me to be truthful and honest to myself. And that tracking only works if you track it correctly. And
I was very militant with how I tracked everything. To this point, I can eyeball things and still weigh it. I still weigh it because I want to be as accurate as possible. And that's the only way that I knew to get the results that I was getting. And I kept it up because it was getting the results that I needed to.
And it's so true. You are completely right. It is the only way to really get to the condition that you are in today for the photo shoot tomorrow. That is the only way. And again, I want to make it very clear for people listening that it's very much goal dependent. If somebody's goal is to get to a healthy place, physically feel better, improve their body composition, but not go to an extent of having a photo shoot at the end, everything looks completely differently. You can eat healthily, you can still enjoy meals with the family, and that's one of the biggest thing for a lot of people who are thinking about joining the program is, will I be able to still enjoy the things that I do, going into social occasions and restaurants, eat dinners with my family? Absolutely, yes. But again, if the goal is to really push it all the way, like you have, and that goal only changed sort of midway, right, where you saw what's achievable, you decided to go all the way and do the photo shoot, amazing. Well, now we need to change things. Now we need to push harder because metabolically your body adapts, and we have to drive the calories down, we have to drive the expenditure. Unfortunately, it's not forever. Now that your fat loss phase has come to an end, we are going to be going into rebuilding phase. We are going to be driving your calories up. So things will change, and you will again be able to enjoy a lot of those social situations and dinners with the family and friends, etc. But yeah, I think it's important. And again, what you said, you have to be very diligent, you have to be very serious, and you have to be very disciplined in order to achieve what you have achieved.
Yeah. Yeah, that discipline is not just for the exercising, it's with eating healthy as well. That was one of my concerns, quite frankly, when we had the initial call, because I was not a big vegetable guy. And I'm like, God, am I going to have to eat only vegetables now? Because you think of that, eating healthy, and it's a lot vegetable driven. And I never ate breakfast. So those are changes that are for the better for me, because actually probably breakfast is my main meal now. Yeah. I get as much protein and stuff in that first meal and start off like that. And then my dinner's usually a little bit smaller. That's just what works for me. Yes. Because I don't like to go to bed with a full stomach. But that is, how things changed for me from that aspect, because now, I didn't, it's not that I avoided vegetables, but now I make sure I have with every meal, every dinner at least. Yeah.
And again, great point, because I think that structure seemed to be working for you, and you kind of implemented that structure. We never told you, oh, you must eat breakfast, or you mustn't, or you must do this, or you mustn't do that. We never really did that. You kind of figured out on the way what's really working for you. You had your targets, you had your calories, and in order to kind of spread it throughout the day, to also make sure that your energy levels are steady, that you're not crushing, etc., that kind of seemed to work. So you now have your breakfast, and it seems to be the meal of the day as well.
Yeah, and that's why with the program and the app especially, that was probably, I think, the most eye-opening experience for me was tracking everything.
Yes,
quite frankly, it's you don't see how things add up during the day.
Couldn't agree more.
Especially in a dental office where we have all these chocolates, believe it or not, in the back office, and people bring all these, especially this time of year, with the different offices bring stuff and patients bring stuff. I'll just have a couple of chocolates, and you add it up, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have those chocolates. So, and it's really important to track that, especially initially, because then you see, all right, well, and I like to drink beer, and the beers I drink are the big ones. I don't know, in
IPAs and things
the IPAs like that, and the heaviest ones. So, and they only come in 16 ounces. So I don't know what that equates to over here. But the tall ones now, they don't make the small ones anymore. So each of those are about 350 calories. And if I go to a sporting event, I would have 2 or 3 of those. Boom, that's my calories right there. So now I'm more judicious with that. And yeah, as we go back, I'll be able to enjoy that stuff. But I made a conscious effort leading up to the photo shoot to limit that. And I still had some over Thanksgiving and things like that. But I'm not a big drinker anyways, but it's something that I the last few weeks, 4 weeks, I definitely tried to avoid just to get ready for the photo shoot. But yeah.
obviously you've changed completely your physique. You've lost, again, over 60 pounds. You must have changed your wardrobe.
Yeah.
Probably multiple times. What's the situation there?
I held out for as long as I could.
Okay.
Actually, if you see my belt, I need a new belt because the belt, I had to turn it to the side because it won't reach the loop anymore. I just but I think I pulled the trigger too early on some pants because I ended up losing more weight since then. But that used to be my least favorite thing to do, quite honestly, going pants shopping and all with my wife. And now I went and we were trying on different things. This is a new sweater and everything. So it was actually enjoyable from that aspect. And I look at a store and I say, okay, I can try on anything here. I can fit into, that's not what the goal was, but it's a nice perk, right? So
absolutely.
I look at this stuff and I'm like, okay, well, extra small now. Before I was medium or large, and I look at this stuff and I'm like, wow. And I put on an old shirt, and my jeans, they were so stretched out, and just I'm swimming in those things now. Mm-hmm. I had a beautiful sports coat that I loved. I put on the other day. I looked like a 5-year-old wearing the sports coat because it's so big on me. I took it to the who I got it from, and she's like, I can't adjust that. There's no way. So
brilliant.
I had to get a new one now.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just a couple more things I wanted to ask you. One of them being, when you look at the photos from pre-transformation, especially the ones that you shared with us as well, where you're on family holidays, I think it's Disneyland.
Yeah.
What do you see and what do you think, and how does it make you feel when you look at those?
Well, now it makes me feel very proud, and that's why, when I sent you guys, when I was putting together the last check-in photos, progress photos, and the before and afters, I was getting emotional to see all the hard work really pay off, and where I've come from, and those early mornings in the wintertime, layering up and going outside and just driving to that goal. So it makes me proud. I'm really proud of the work I've accomplished. And then when I see those photos, compared to where I'm now, obviously I look completely different person, but I didn't see myself at that stage.
Yes.
And it's something that happened incrementally, each year. It just added more and more to that. But in my mind, I was not at that 194 pounds. Mm-hmm. I was at, 150, what I've been at my whole life, 145. And then, to the point where you look at somebody and not judging them, but that person's a little heavy, they're very heavy, and you don't realize it. You're like, man, that's me. Mm-hmm. And that's the point I was at. And when I look at those photos, that's completely true.
Isn't it incredible that our minds really play tricks on us? It's almost like a coping mechanism in a way.
Yeah.
Not really facing the music in some ways, and not really admitting to yourself that actually there was a problem. So what was the turning point again for you? Like, when did the penny drop that I need to do something about that?
Yeah, it was right after, I think after those trips and those photos. Okay. And I think my wife texted me the photo from the Disney trip. The flag football end of the year, which is November of 2022. Mm-hmm. I think a week before I did the call with you.
Yes.
And she texted it to me while we were on the couch watching a movie, and she highlighted, on the photo, she circled me, and I was like, oh man, yeah. Okay. I couldn't see that because I don't look at myself that way. And then I saw it in the photo. I'm like, all right, this is not good. It's just the belly fat and this from the side hanging over there. So that was, I think, my turning point to make the call. Mm-hmm. And then the self-doubt creeped in, and I don't know that I was even ready to bet on myself, and financially aside, I don't know that I was even at that point still ready. And all these doubts start creeping in your mind. You're like, am I actually going to be able to pull this off? Mm-hmm. Even partially, and not even the goals I ended up with. And then probably about a month into the program, I was doing our weekly check-in. Mm-hmm. And I would answer the stuff, try to be as truthful as possible. And Jason was away on holiday. You did the check-in, the video check-in, the Loom video. And then I had mentioned that I thought I would have lost more weight by that point, at 4 weeks into it. Because I was doing the diet, I was doing that, but my steps were not where they needed to be, and I was not accomplishing the cardio goals. And at that point, I think it's great how you guys work together. Like, I think you play off each other. And you were able to kick me a new one and say, Miguel, again, you're complaining about not losing weight, but you're not doing any of the things you're supposed to do. And it was true. I just was denying it to myself, and I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And since that time, I don't think I missed one check-in since that time. Maybe when I was on vacation, I couldn't weigh myself. It was to the point where we drove to vacation in July for about 10 days to see my sister in North Carolina. And I brought my digital scale with me, not the one to weigh food, to weigh myself. I put it in the car, and I brought it along on the trip so I could continue weighing myself and get everything programmed for you guys.
So it seems like the accountability factor was a huge part of it. Yeah. Couple of things again. So, I hear it a lot from our clients. The turning point for a lot of them are the photos. It's usually the holiday photos. That's when people kind of, like you said, they visualize themselves, or they have an image of themselves in their head completely different to what they actually see in the photos. And that tends to be the penny drop moment where they go, okay, something needs to change because is this what I look like? You also said that you were apprehensive, you were doubting your ability to achieve those goals, whether you were right for the program, whether you are going to achieve that. And that's normal because a lot of people have that. It takes, I suppose, a lot of courage to actually take the first step and book the call. And some people I actually had somebody on a call recently, it took them 12 months from seeing me somewhere on social media, receiving my newsletter or my emails. It took them 12 months to book a call. So I understand that it's a big thing. That to aside, there is obviously a huge financial commitment to the program. Was that something that was also kind of scary for you?
I would say there was some of that. And, because you look at it, and it was a little different for me in the sense that, when I start rationalizing in my head, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, well, I'm paying for the program, but I don't go to the gym. So this is now my gym membership. But if you go to the gym, you pay for the gym membership. If you have training at the gym, you still have to pay separately for the trainer. So it's not all inclusive in any event.
Exactly.
And then going to the gym in person, that's not going to work for me. So that's one thing. But secondly, now I had to do that, pay for the guy, and that's all it is. This was all inclusive because the diet component and be able to manage all that and have you guys with me along the way was huge. And I think that's the one of the main factors got me to where I needed to go.
Yes. Because,
the diet, without that phase, I could have done the exercise and the cardio, but it's not going to get me to where I got, I'll get some improvement, but not anywhere near what I needed to do and what I ended up doing for sure.
Yeah. And you actually tried in-person personal training before.
I did, yeah.
And what was the experience like?
It was for me not great, not because of the personal trainer. It was just I wasn't ready, and I wasn't ready in the sense that I wasn't ready to commit to what needed to be done. So it was sporadic, and I go for 45 minutes, and that was it. I did about 10 sessions, and then here and there, and then I go like another year before doing it, and then I never joined the gym. I just would go for the training. So it just wasn't going to work, and that was on me because at that point in my life, I wasn't ready. And, I think this came for me at the right time in my life, where the kids are older. They don't need me for absolutely everything. Before I'd have to make all their lunches in the morning and we'd have to get them dressed and all that stuff. And, I don't need to do that anymore. And they're older, so I don't need to do their homework as much with them and all that stuff. So I was able to dedicate the time I needed to do it, which maybe 5 years ago, that wasn't the case.
So that's an interesting point. Do you feel that, so let's assume 5, even 10 years back, if you were in that situation, kids are small, you have 2 kids, obviously, business, etc., etc. Do you feel, going through the experience, do you feel like you would have been able to achieve what you have achieved with those circumstances?
I think you can.
Yeah.
So it's all a question of, how you do it.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm looking back on it and I say that because I'm trying to think why I didn't do it back then.
Yes.
And if I try to identify some reasons, those are reasons I think it wouldn't have worked necessarily for me looking back on it. Now, had I been in that situation, would I have made it a priority like I did now? I'm not sure. But I certainly know that now it was easier for me because of where we're at this point in our lives with the kids and the family itself.
Yeah. So that takes me nicely to my next question, which is, what would you say to somebody who's potentially thinking of doing something like that? They've seen your results and, the hundreds of different results that we've achieved with our previous clients. What would you say to somebody who's sitting on the fence, is not really sure, doubts themselves, have all those same sort of doubts that you had at the beginning? What would you say to somebody like that?
Do it right away, as fast as you can. Seriously, I'm serious about that. But, everybody has to be ready for it. So what phase you are in your life, it's not something you can go into and I'm just going to say you can't half-ass this. You got to get in, you got to be committed. That's the main thing. But that commitment and self-discipline, hopefully if you're even contemplating it, you have some of that already because you wouldn't be getting to that stage and not realizing that you need or you want to do something about it. That's, like you say, that's for step one. And then from there going on. That's the most important thing, I think, is just realizing, okay, I'm ready to do this. And once you're ready, then I think finding the right program for you is key because it has to match with, what you're looking for and then set it up. And that's where I think, the program works so well for everybody because you guys adapt it to the individual needs, the individual person and their goals. So.
Interesting. So when you say the person needs to feel like they are ready, what I take from it, you mean you have to be willing to, you have to be at the point where the pain is so big that you almost have no other option but try something. Is that what you mean?
No, I don't know about pain or anything. I just, I think, I think you have to be at a phase in your mental space where you say, okay, maybe I tried other things that didn't work. This is my last resort. I don't want to say things like that, but you have to be ready because if you're not ready to do the commitment each day of what needs to be done, you can get good results, but you're not going to get to the results that maybe you want to get to, that if you really pour yourself into it and you're ready to do that commitment, that you can get fantastic results and really set yourself up very nicely for the future. Yeah.
So it's interesting because, I always say there is never really the most perfect time for something like that because, a lot of people, they try, fail again and again and again, and they get to a point where they start, and a lot of those doubts actually come from the experiences they've had before. They've tried different diets, they've tried different training regimes, etc. And they got to a point where they plateau, they don't know what to do, they kind of get demotivated, they start blaming genetics, all sorts of different things and factors. So I think that readiness really, I think if you feel like something needs to change and you actually book the call, I think it's time. I think you're ready. Because even on a subconscious level, I feel like you've already done the homework to get to the point where you've booked a call. That means that you have thought about it.
Yeah.
And from then on, I suppose it's just a matter of really backing yourself up, having that, financial commitment, having that commitment to yourself. As I always call it, it's like having the skin in the game. That's important. Past that point, it's really just a teamwork. Right. And, it's a lot of it really is down to us, how we manage that client from that point onwards.
Right.
Because again, if we were to take it back to our call, for you had the penny drop moment, we had the call, but you were still not ready.
Right.
I think you were ready, but in your head, you were trying to convince yourself.
Right. I was trying to talk myself out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and just I wanted to complete the thought about the question you asked about the financial aspect. So, it wasn't a driving force to say no. especially when I looked at it, looking at it now, I'll tell you for sure, it was the best decision I ever made, hands down. And I couldn't have bet better on myself with the program and with you guys and the results I got. So it was worth every penny that I paid for the program. So that's you're not going to hear anything different from me. That's for sure. But I realized, for some people, it's more than they want to spend. But what I would say is there's a reason, and I feel in my line of work, I'm not the cheapest guy, not the most expensive guy at what I do, but I'm very good at what I do. Mm-hmm. And there's hopefully a reason why you see me as a specialist, mm-hmm. just like you see you guys for what the value of what you guys bring to each individual client. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, because I think that really resonates with probably a lot of people out there, and it just shows again that if you are willing to make that financial commitment for professional service, and then get to a point like you did on this journey, you look back and it's like it's the money best spent. And not only we've extended your life probably for years, but also you are the happiest, the healthiest, everything that comes with it. So
that's why I say do it immediately.
Yeah.
Because don't follow what I did. And I gave that same advice to my cousin who just signed up with you guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm going to start after the new year. I'm like, my other cousin and I, who's actually a triathlon, he's in great shape. There's all the Vidal side, the genetic component. We're both like, don't listen to your brother. Start now. Mm-hmm. I go, don't do what I did. Do it now. Because you're just going to delay getting healthier. Just start now if you're ready. Just start.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Miguel, it's been an absolute pleasure coaching you over those 10, 11 months. It's been a huge pleasure seeing you this morning for the first time, meeting you in person. And thank you for making it all the way to London from Boston, because again, that's a huge commitment as well. Photo shoot tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for trusting the process, putting all your trust in us as coaches, and trusting the program, trusting the process, and executing, and getting to that point. So I really appreciate it.
It's my turn to say thank you to you guys for everything you've done. Obviously, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys and the work that you've all put in to get me here. So I can't say thank you enough on behalf of myself and my family. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.